This is Jarrod Horak for the RunawayHorse.com. I'm back with my second video this week. I just took a look at the Grade 1 Cotillion from Parx. In this video, I'm going to do the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby. Now, if you're interested in my full card analysis from Santa Anita Park, you can head on over to the RunawayHorse.com. You will find those full cards on my sales page. Santa Anita Park Autumn Meet begins on September 30th, and it goes through November 6th, and I will be covering those full cards each day that they run. You can purchase individual full cards, weekly and weekend packages, and the entire meet at the runawayhorse.com on my sales page. And I also this spring will be covering my annual 2-day Breeders' Cup full cards. Breeders' Cup's at Keeneland this year, and those full cards will be available Breeders' Cup week at the runawayhorse.com on my sales page, November 4th and 5th, the Breeders' Cup this year. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you like this content. And let's see if we can give out some more winners, because last week on my Road to the Breeders' Cup video series, had a couple winners from Woodbine. On my Road to the 2023 Kentucky Oaks, had the Pocahontas winner at 6-1. And then I started my Road to the Kentucky Derby 2023 with the Iroquois Stakes, and my top choice finished third there. So all the points races for the Oaks and the Derby I'm going to be covering in the videos. And then next week, my Road to the Breeders' Cup series will continue. But let's get into the analysis of this video, and it's going to be the 12th race from Parx Racing for Saturday, September 24th, 2022. It's going to be the Grade 1 $1 million Pennsylvania Derby for 3-year-olds, a mile and an eighth on the main track, and the scheduled post time is 6:10 p.m. Eastern Time. Zandon, one of my favorites, breaks from post 1, and he's listed at 5-1 morning line. He's very consistent. He's run 7 times, and he's finished in the top 3 in all 7 career starts. He started his career with a victory under Jarrod Horak last fall at Belmont Park at 6 furlongs. They jumped him from 6 furlongs to 9 furlongs in the Grade 2 Remsen. He finished a nose behind Mo Donegal. Mo Donegal was the Belmont Stakes winner earlier this year, and then Zandon was well clear of the rest that day. The Grade 2 Risen Star Stakes was his first stake start this year, and in that mile and an eighth race, Epicenter beat him. Zandon rallied to finish third. He hopped at the start. He raced wide. He rallied nicely. And then the Grade 1 Bluegrass Stakes was his coming out party. He got his first graded win there, and that was a nice victory from off the pace under Flavien Prat. Prat stayed aboard in the Kentucky Derby. He finished a solid third. He was less than a length behind Epicenter, who's probably the top 3-year-old in the country. And then Epicenter, last time out, in the Jim Dandy, defeated him again. Epicenter Zandon finished 1-2, a length and a half separated them that day. Last time out in the Grade 1 Travers at 1 1/4 miles, Zandon ended up finishing an okay third, rallying from off the pace from the outside post. He was wide early, he rallied inside, and he just missed second by a nose. Solid enough effort there, but the 1 1/4 miles is probably too far for him, because he lost ground in the stretch in both of his 1 1/4 miles races in the Kentucky Derby and the Travers. But he is a Grade 1 winner at this distance. He should save ground under Jarrod Horak, who only rode him once, and that was in his career debut. And he won that race, and I think that if the pace heats up enough, Zandon can make his presence felt in the stretch. Number 2, Icy Storm. He's 4 for 10 lifetime. He's only earned $72,000. He's run twice at Parx with a win and a second. Last time out in an allowance race at Parx, he was second behind a 5-length winner. This is a tough spot for him. He was in a claiming 12 on non-winners 3 lifetime at Parx, and he won that one earlier this year. So a huge step up in class. He's probably outclassed. Number 3, Dawk. This one for trainer Doug O'Neill. I think he's better in shorter distances, and especially at 7 furlongs, because he broke his maiden by 11 lengths at 7 furlongs. Then in the Sir Barton Stakes at 1 1/16 miles at Pimlico, he ended up finishing second behind Ethereal Road. He was clearly second best. And then they took him into the allowance ranks, a 1-turn mile at Churchill Downs. He was 5th of 8. And then last time out, back to that 7 furlong distance that he likes, he was able to get up involved early, tracking the pace and finishing a length and a half in front as the post-time favorite. So Dawk, I think it's class, and then also the distance of this race is going to be too far for him. He needs lesser company, probably at 7 furlongs. The next one in line is number 4, Skippylongstocking, and he's 10-1 morning line. He's run a lot of races. He's run 12 times, and he's won 3 times. More than $600,000 in earnings, and he won the West Virginia Derby last time out, stalking the pace from second and winning nicely. And he's one I liked as an exotics contender earlier this year on the road to the or in the Triple Crown races. The Preakness Stakes, I thought he could hit the board. He finished 5th there. And then in the Belmont Stakes, I liked him underneath, and he did finish 3rd in that race behind Mo Donegal and Nest prior to that West Virginia Derby victory. And then he was 3rd in the Wood Memorial as well. So this mile and an 8th distance is probably the key to his success, where he has 3 starts with 2 wins and a 3rd place finish. Number 5, Cyberknife. He's one that has really done well this year for Brad Cox as the year has gone on. He's run 10 times overall with 5 wins in 3 seconds. He's had 7 starts this year, 4 wins and a 2nd place finish. He had back-to-back wins after finishing 18th in the Kentucky Derby. He won the Grade 3 Matt Winn Stakes and then the Grade 1 Haskell by a head over Taiba, who's in this race. And then in the Travers last time, he set the pace and he just held off Zandon and to finish 2nd. Epicenter won that one by more than 5 lengths. So Cyberknife, he's got some versatility. He's not typically in front. So there just wasn't a lot of pace in the Travers, and he went out there and from that inside post tried to steal it, but he just wasn't as good as Epicenter. But he ran a quality race. Probably the main concern is since the Kentucky Derby, this will be his 4th start. He's been very busy the second half of the year, and let's see if he's got another big win in him after running in the Haskell and the Travers. We the People is the next one. Flavian Prat will ride, and this one is 3 for 6 overall, and his big victory was in the Peter Pan Stakes, but that was on a wet track, and he dominated there. He got out there, he set the pace, and he won by 10 lengths. The Belmont Stakes, he took a lot of action, but he couldn't duplicate that Peter Pan. He couldn't quite go that 1.5 mile distance. He was 4th by 7 lengths. And then the West Virginia Derby last time out, he was 2nd. He set the pace. Skippylongstocking beat him that day. So he should impact the pace in here. Number 7, Tawny Port. He's been busy this year too for trainer Brad Cox. He's run 7 times. He's had 3 wins. Go back to his victories of the Lexington Stakes at 1 mile and 1/16th at Keeneland was his graded stakes win. He was 7th in the Kentucky Derby. Not a bad effort from post 18 in a 20-horse field. Only beaten 4 3/4 lengths. He won the Grade 3 Ohio Derby. And then in the Jim Dandy Stakes, he was an okay 3rd last time out. So he's been freshened for this. He's got at least enough tactical speed to keep the leaders in his sights. Irad Ortiz Jr. will ride. Number 8, Taiba, your 5-2 favorite in this race. And I think that Taiba's one that certainly could end up winning this race. He's very lightly raced and he has a lot of upside. He back-to-back victories at Santa Anita earlier this year. On March 5th, he won his career debut at 6 furlongs by more than 7 lengths. Dominated that race. Santa Anita Derby, surprisingly in his 2nd career start, he was able to beat his more experienced stablemate Messier, and it was 10 lengths back to the show finisher. The Kentucky Derby was just too much too soon. He only had those 2 career starts, both this year, and he just wasn't up to the Kentucky Derby battle there at 1.25 miles. He stalked the pace. He finished 12th, beating 17 lengths in that 20-horse field. They freshened him up, ran him in the Haskell Stakes, and he ended up finishing 2nd after stalking the pace by a head. Cyberknife defeated him, but he covered more ground than Cyberknife. He ran just as good as that one. And then Jack Christopher was a clear show finisher. He came back, turned back in distance, and won a graded stake. So Taiba has a lot of upside for trainer Bob Baffert. They paid more than $1.7 million for him. He does have some bullet works, but he's not the best workhorse. They have to work on him pretty good to get him to work. So he's not the flashiest workhorse, but he does turn up in the afternoons. He has a lot of upside. He's got tactical speed. Mike Smith, his winning rider, stays put, and he's got a good shot to finish somewhere in the top 3 here. Simplification, he's run 10 times with 3 wins, a 2nd, and 3/3. He's 0 for 2 with 2 show finishes at this distance. He was in the Kentucky Derby. He finished 4th. In the Preakness, he was 6th. He's done his best work at Gulfstream Park. And then last time out in the slop in the West Virginia Derby, he returned and he finished a well-beaten 3rd. And then the next one in line is Naval Aviator at 20-1 morning line. He's got a good record, 7 starts, 3 wins in 2 seconds, but against much lesser company. Last 3 starts, he ran well, claiming 50 non-winners 2 lifetime. He stalked and scored at Churchill. Same oval starter allowance race. He rallied to win there. And then last time out at Saratoga in an entry-level allowance race, he ended up finishing 2nd in a 7-horse field after being bumped at the start. He'll try to get involved late. He's probably outclassed. Number 11, White Abarrio. Kind of like Simplification, he seems to prefer Gulfstream Park. And this one especially does because he's run 4 times at Gulfstream, won all 4 races, including the Florida Derby and the Holy Bull Stakes. Away from Gulfstream Park, he's 0 for 4. He was 7th, beating 34 lengths in the Haskell. He was 2nd in the Ohio Derby. That was a good effort behind Tawnyport. And then in the Kentucky Derby, he was 16th, beating 20 lengths. And then in the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes in 2021, he was 3rd, beating 6 lengths. So if you give him Gulfstream Park, he usually runs a very good race, but away from there, a bit dicey. So now we'll go through and give out the top contenders in this race. Now coming in as my 4th contender in here, I'll probably go with Cyberknife as my 4th choice. He's 3-1 morning line. He's in decent form. I just think maybe it's been too much since the Kentucky Derby, and there's some other rivals in here that are fresher. And but I wouldn't be surprised if he ran well. Obviously, he's having a good year. He won the Haskell Stakes. He won the Matt Winn Stakes. He won the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby. So he would not be a surprise. But I'm going to go with some fresher rivals and some rivals that are going to offer maybe a bit more value. Skippylongstocking will be my 3rd choice. I've always liked this one. I liked him to hit the board in the Belmont and Preakness. He did hit the board in the Belmont. He ran a decent race in the Wood Memorial behind Mo Donegal in early voting, your Preakness and Belmont Stakes winners. So he's one that has some ability. He's got some tactical speed. He's in good form. He likes this distance, and he's going to offer value. My 2nd choice will be Taiba. I just think that he's the one that has the most upside in this race, but he's not going to offer as much value as maybe my top choice, hopefully. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if he ran a good race, and he's probably sitting on a good race. He's been freshened for this. He's been firing bullets. Like I said, though, his bullets aren't that flashy. They have to work on him a bit to get him to work in the mornings. But in the afternoon, he does come to play. But I'm going to give out for my top choice, number 1, Zandon. 5-1, I just think Zandon's Epicenter's the top horse, the top 2-year-old, and Zandon's been running some good races against Epicenter. He was 3rd behind that one in the Travers. He was 2nd behind that one in the Jim Dandy. Epicenter and Zandon were 2nd and 3rd in the Kentucky Derby. And even going back to the Risen Star Stakes, where Epicenter won and Zandon was 3rd. So getting away from Epicenter, and even another horse that beat him was Mo Donegal, the Belmont Stakes winner. So I just think that Zandon's been facing the best company, and he should save all the ground, reuniting with Rosario, this Chad Brown trainee. Might be the right time to play him because he's going to offer value at his winning distance. So Zandon is going to be my top choice in the Pennsylvania Derby. Again, my 2nd choice will be Taiba, and Skippylongstocking, my 3rd choice. Cyberknife will round out my top 4. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you like this content. That will wrap up this week's video. I'll be back with some Breeders' Cup Win and You're In videos next week. And until then, good luck at the race.